the shadow of the Empire. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, where stars burned like eternal fires and nebulae painted the void in hues of cosmic artistry, the Galactic Empire reigned supreme. Forged from the ashes of 1,000 conquered worlds, the Empire was a monolithic entity, its tendrils extending across sectors, systems, and spiral arms. At its helm sat Emperor Vexarian the Unyielding, a being of crystalline intellect and unquenchable ambition. His species, the Zorathians, were tall, ethereal creatures with skin like polished obsidian and eyes that glowed with the captured light of devoured suns. They had evolved on a harsh world where survival meant domination, and that ethos had propelled them to interstellar tyranny. The Empire's fleet was its crowning glory, a symphony of destruction composed of dreadnoughts, battlecruisers, and swarms of fighter drones. The mightiest among them was the Imperial Armada, a force so vast it could eclipse entire planets. Comprising over 10,000 vessels, each armed with plasma lances capable of vaporizing moons, quantum disruptors that unraveled molecular bonds, and shields woven from manipulated gravity fields, the Armada had never known defeat. It had crushed rebellions, annexed neutral worlds, and enforced the Emperor's will with merciless precision. Whispers of discontent, however, had begun to stir in the outer rims. The Empire's expansion had brushed against a curious anomaly, a small, blue-green world orbiting a yellow star in a forgotten arm of the galaxy. Earth, home to the humans, a species barely out of their planetary cradle. The Zorathians dismissed them as primitives, their technology laughable, their society fragmented. But intelligence reports painted a different picture. Humans had ventured into space with reckless abandon, colonizing their moon, Mars, and even sending probes beyond their system. More alarmingly, they possessed a tenacity that bordered on insanity. Stories filtered through the Empire's spy networks of humans surviving impossible odds, innovating under duress, and fighting with a ferocity that defied logic. Emperor Vexarian, seated upon his throne of fused starship hulls in the heart of the capital world Zorith Prime, reviewed the holoscreens flickering before him. "These, humans," he intoned, his voice a resonant hum that vibrated the air. "They dare to broadcast signals into our territory, claiming neutrality. But their probes encroach upon our borders. Admiral Calthor, assemble the Armada. We shall deploy our mightiest fleet and erase this insolence from the stars." Admiral Calthor, a veteran of countless campaigns, bowed low. His carapace gleamed under the artificial lights. "As you command, my Emperor. The Armada will converge at the Sol System's edge. One swift strike, and humanity will be but a footnote in our annals." The mobilization was a spectacle of imperial grandeur. Ships from across the Empire warped into formation, their engines humming in unison like a predatory choir. The flagship, the Eclipse, was a behemoth spanning 50 kilometers, its hull bristling with weapons that could level civilizations. Accompanying it were the Ravager-class destroyers, each capable of unleashing barges that mimicked supernovae. Fighter swarms, numbering in the millions, danced in precise patterns, ready to overwhelm any defense. As the Armada jumped through hyperspace, the galaxy held its breath. Allied species, subjugated under the Empire's yoke, watched with a mixture of fear and secret hope. Could these upstart humans truly stand against such power? The Empire's propaganda machines broadcasted the impending victory, declaring it a mere pacification exercise. Back on Earth, in the bustling halls of the United Earth Command, UEC, headquarters buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, alarms blared. Satellite arrays had detected the massive energy signatures of the approaching fleet. President Elena Vasquez, a sharp-eyed woman with a background in astrophysics, stared at the tactical displays. "What in God's name is that?" she muttered. Admiral Marcus Hale, grizzled and battle-hardened from humanity's internal conflicts, leaned forward. "Ma'am, it's an invasion force. Sensors count over 10,000 ships. Their tech, it's beyond anything we've seen. Energy readings off the charts." The room fell silent. Humanity's space fleet was nascent, a handful of experimental vessels, armed with railguns, nuclear missiles, and rudimentary lasers. The pride of the fleet was the USS Odyssey, a prototype starship designed for deep space exploration. Crewed by 500 souls, It was equipped with an experimental warp drive, adaptive shielding, and a revolutionary AI core named Athena. But against an Empire's armada? It was a David facing a legion of Goliaths. "We can't fight them head-on," Vasquez said, her voice steady. "Evacuate key personnel to the colonies. Prepare planetary defenses. And get the Odyssey ready. Captain Reyes, you're our best shot." Captain Sophia Reyes, a descendant of ancient warriors, nodded from the hololink. Her dark hair was tied back, her eyes fierce. "Understood, Madam President. We'll buy you time. Whatever it takes to as the Odyssey lifted off from Earth's orbital dock, its sleek hull gleaming in the sunlight. The crew felt the weight of history. Engineers tinkered with last-minute modifications, pilots ran simulations, and scientists debated strategies. Little did they know, one human ship, would unravel the Empire's grand design. The Armada emerged from hyperspace at the Kuiper Belt's edge, a wall of metal and menace. Admiral Calthor surveyed the scene from the Eclipse's bridge. "Scan for defenses," he ordered. "Minimal, Admiral," replied a sensor officer. "Primitive satellites, a few orbital stations. Their main vessel is approaching. Designate it Target Prime." Calthor chuckled, a sound like grinding crystals. "Pathetic. Deploy the Vanguard. End this quickly." A detachment of 100 cruisers advanced, their weapons charging. The Odyssey, alone in the void, accelerated to meet them. Captain Reyes gripped her command chair. "Athena, analyze their shields. Find a weakness." The AI's voice, calm and melodic, responded, "Analyzing. Zorathian shields rely on gravitational manipulation. A phased EMP burst might disrupt them. Engineering, prep the pulse emitter. Weapons, target their lead ship." The battle ignited. Plasma bolts lanced toward the Odyssey, but its adaptive shields shimmered, absorbing the energy. Railguns fired back, slugs accelerating to relativistic speeds. The first cruiser buckled, its hull punctured. "Impossible," Calthor snarled. "Swarm them." Fighters poured forth, but human pilots, honed in virtual dogfights, weaved through the chaos. Missiles detonated in brilliant flashes, EMP waves cascading through the enemy ranks. Yet, the Armada pressed on. For every ship destroyed, 10 more took its place. The Odyssey danced on the edge of annihilation, its crew pushing limits no Zorathian could fathom. In the Empire's core, Emperor Vexarian watched the feeds. "What sorcery is this? One ship holds the line." But humanity's secret weapon wasn't technology, it was ingenuity. In the Odyssey's labs, Dr. Liam Harper, a brilliant physicist, jury-rigged a device, a quantum entanglement bomb, using the ship's warp core to create a localized singularity. "Captain, if we detonate this amid their formation, it could chain-react their power systems," Harper explained. Reyes nodded. "Do it. Helm, plot a course through their heart." As the Odyssey plunged deeper, the story of humanity's defiance began to unfold, a tale of one against many, where will triumphed over might. The heart of defiance. The void of space was no longer silent. It roared with the fury of clashing empires. The USS Odyssey, a sleek arrow of human engineering, sliced through the oncoming wave of Zorathian vessels. Its hull, forged from nanomaterials that self-repaired under fire, bore the scars of plasma impacts, blackened craters that hissed with residual heat. Inside, the crew moved with practiced urgency, sweat beading on brows, voices sharp over the intercom. Captain Sophia Reyes stood on the bridge, her uniform crisp despite the chaos. Born in the sprawling megacities of New Mexico, she had risen through the ranks on sheer grit. Her ancestors had fought in wars long forgotten, and that bloodline fueled her now. "Status report," she barked. Lieutenant Aria Chun, the tactical officer, her fingers flying over holographic controls, replied. "Shields at 62%. We've taken out 15 cruisers, but their fighters are adapting. Athena projects will be overwhelmed in 20 minutes if we don't change tactics." Athena, the ship's AI, materialized as a shimmering hologram, a woman in ancient Greek armor, her eyes glowing blue. "Captain, I recommend deploying the drone swarm. Human unpredictability combined with my algorithms could disrupt their formations," Reyes considered. The drones were experimental, small, agile craft armed with micronukes and hacking payloads. Launch them. Target their command links. Outside, the drones erupted from the Odyssey's bays like angry hornets. They darted erratically, human pilots remote controlling a portion while Athena handled the rest. Zorathian fighters, programmed for precision, struggled against the chaos. Explosions bloomed in the darkness, ships crumpling as chains of command severed. On the Eclipse, Admiral Calthor slammed a fist on his console. These vermin fight like cornered beasts. Redirect the Ravagers. Vaporize that insolent craft. The Ravager-class ships, hulking brutes with spinal-mounted annihilators, lumbered forward. Their weapons charged, emitting a low hum that vibrated through space. The first fired, a beam of pure entropy that warped reality itself. Evade, Reyes shouted. The Odyssey's thrusters fired, twisting the ship in a maneuver that strained its inertial dampeners. Crew members were thrown against harnesses, but the beam grazed past, scorching the shields. Dr. Harper, in the engineering bay, worked feverishly. Surrounded by humming consoles and floating tools, he integrated the quantum bomb. Almost there, Captain. But we'll need to get close, dangerously close. Understood. Helm, take us in. Full burn. As the Odyssey charged, the crew shared stories in hushed tones, reminders of why they fought. Ensign Jamal Khalid, a young medic from Lahore, patched wounds while recounting tales of Earth's history. Thermopylae, where 300 held against thousands. Stalingrad, where resolve turned tides. Meanwhile, on Earth, panic spread. Cities activated domes, militaries mobilized. But in hidden bunkers, scientists activated Project Phoenix, a network of orbital weapons, relics from Cold War's past, retrofitted with alien tech scavenged from crashed probes. The Empire's advance slowed, baffled by the Odyssey's resilience. Zorathians, bred for hierarchy, couldn't comprehend human improvisation. When a system failed, humans bypassed it. When ammo ran low, they weaponized debris. A turning point came when the Odyssey breached the vanguard. Drones hacked a cruiser's systems, turning its guns on allies. Chain reactions rippled, ships exploding in domino fashion. Calthor roared. All ships, converge. Crush them. But the humans had a plan. Harper's bomb was ready, a device that entangled particles across the fleet, turning their own power against them. Detonate on my mark, Reyes said, her voice steady as the ship shook. The battle intensified, lasers crisscrossing, missiles streaking. The Odyssey's hull breached in places, atmosphere venting, but repair teams sealed it with foam and determination. In the Empire's distant halls, Emperor Vexarian felt a twinge of unease. What manner of creatures are these? They do not yield. The answer lay in humanity's core, a spark of defiance, forged in evolution's crucible, that no empire could extinguish. The singularity of will. The climax approached as the USS Odyssey pierced the Armada's core. Surrounded on all sides, the human ship was a lone flame in a storm of steel. Alarms wailed, red lights pulsing. Captain Reyes wiped blood from a cut on her forehead, shrapnel from a near miss. Athena, reroute power to forward shields. We're going through. The AI complied, her hologram flickering. Affirmative. Probability of survival, 47%. But humans have beaten worse odds. The crew laughed grimly. Lieutenant Chun targeted weak points, her railguns barking. Each shot pierced armor, exposing cores that detonated spectacularly. Dr. Harper's voice crackled over comms, bomb primed. We need to be at the centroid of their formation for maximum effect. The centroid was the Eclipse itself. The flagship loomed, a dark monolith blotting stars. Its defenses were impenetrable, or so the Zorathians thought. Helm, evasive pattern delta. Get us there. Thrusters flared, the Odyssey spiraling through fire. Fighters pursued, but human ingenuity shone. Chaff clouds laced with nanites that corroded enemy hulls. On the Eclipse, Calthor mobilized boarding parties. Prepare to capture their vessel. Dissect their secrets. But humans fought dirty. As Zorathian shuttles approached, the Odyssey's point defense turrets unleashed hell, flechettes tipped with antimatter. One shuttle breached, aliens pouring in. Security teams met them, Marines in powered exosuits, armed with vibroblades and plasma rifles. Close quarters combat ensued, corridors echoing with clashes. Zorathians, superior in strength, fell to human tactics. ambushes, grenades, even improvised flamethrowers from fuel lines. Sergeant Lena Novak, a burly veteran, cleaved through an invader. "For Earth," she yelled, her squad echoing. Back on the bridge, Reyes coordinated. "Harper status? Ready. But detonation will create a singularity, temporary black hole. We'll have seconds to warp out." The Odyssey closed in. The Eclipse fired its main cannon, but Athena predicted the trajectory, dodging narrowly. "Now," Reyes commanded. The bomb launched, an innocuous probe streaking toward the flagship. It detonated on impact, entangling quantum fields. Energy feedback looped through the Armada, shields collapsing, reactors overloading. Ships imploded, sucked into microsingularities. The void warped, stars distorting. "Warp now," Reyes ordered. The Odyssey's drive engaged, space folding. They escaped as the Armada tore itself apart. Thousands of vessels reduced to debris in minutes. Calthor, aboard the crumbling Eclipse, transmitted a final message. "Impossible, one ship." The Empire reeled. Worlds cheered in secret, rebellions ignited, echoes of victory. In the aftermath, the galaxy transformed. The Galactic Empire, once unassailable, fractured. Emperor Vexarian, humiliated, faced uprisings. Zorith Prime burned with revolts, subjugated species rising. On Earth, the Odyssey returned heroes. Captain Reyes addressed the world. "We stood alone, but together. Humanity's spirit endures." The debris field became a monument, the graveyard of empires. Humans expanded, forging alliances, their ingenuity leading a new era. Years later, tales of the one ship that ended it all inspired generations. HFY indeed. Humanity, fuck yeah. The story spread. How cleverness trumped might, will over weapons. The empire fell, but humanity rose, stars their domain.